Okay, so we are all the way up to chapter 17, which is awesome. So this chapter was both short and long. But I thought it was had a lot of really interesting information, a lot of cool ideas, and things that you can do as a declarer to make the game harder for the defenders. Um, so if you haven't seen Technique discussion group already, we have been working our way through the book Card Play Technique or the Art of Being Lucky. We spent about a week on each chapter. As you can see, we're all the way up to 17, so we've been doing this for a little while. We have just a few chapters left. Hopefully we'll be finishing up pretty soon. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for the suggestion. I think that was a great idea. Um, so as a declarer, there's like a something that is really beneficial that you don't have to worry about here, which is you don't have to worry about confusing your partner because your partner. Oh, sorry. Okay, so your partner can't do anything but just sit across from you at the table. But when you're on defense, this is something you constantly have to be worried about. If you lead the wrong card, you play the wrong card, you follow the wrong way, you make the wrong discard, you can be telling your partner information, you could be lying to your partner and making it harder for them. But as declarer, we don't have to worry about that. What we want to be doing is lying to the defenders as much as possible to make their job hard. Um, you have it somewhere. I think it took it on vacation. Yeah, it's been really good. I think I've learned a lot from it. And by forcing me to like get stuff ready for stream each week, it's been very helpful in actually like making sure that I read it. Um, let's see. Am I in the way? I don't think so. We can get there. Oh, cool. So Adam Grossack is really good at this stuff and also explaining what he's doing and why. Oh, that's awesome. So if you are not already watching him when he plays, definitely go and check him out. Um, so one of the ways that we can take advantage of this stuff and that we can lie to defenders is by making it hard for the defenders to signal to each other. One of their jobs is to signal to each other and make those signals as consistent and clear as possible. If you want to encourage partner and you're playing upside down attitude, like play the 2, don't play the 5. You want that, like, they're both low cards, but one of them is extremely clear that you want it to come on, and the other one the partner has to guess. But sometimes you're not dealt the cards that can make it so that you can give a really nice, clear signal. And in those cases, when you're playing as the declarer, you can make it harder for the defenders to figure out whether or not this is an encouraging or a discouraging signal by what cards you play. So this is I thought this was like one of the clearest points. It assumes that you're playing against people who are signaling, which if you're playing at beginner or casual tables, that's not necessarily true, but I think for the most part you can assume that. Um, so I really like this idea, which is just like making it harder for making something that's already hard for the defenders harder. Another one of the tricks that they described is like if you're looking at your hand and you can see that like you have a potential loser in the trump suit and you're not really sure how, and you don't want to lead the trumps yourself. One of the ways that you can try and trick the defenders into leading the trumps for you would be to act like you need a ruff. If you can make the defenders think that you need ruffs, one of the things that they'll want to do naturally is shorten your trumps to prevent you from being able to take those ruffs. So if you can act like you need a ruff, if you can make it very clear that you're shortening a suit, that might make the opponents more likely to lead those trumps for you. That can break that suit wide open. One of the things that I found was pretty consistent with these problems is to remember which cards are actually on the table. In person, I don't think this is as hard as it is online. Sometimes when like I get switched around and I'm declaring from north seat, it's not obvious to me immediately that south is the cards that are actually on display. So if you keep in mind which cards are visible and which ones aren't, you can sometimes like fake a finesse, and that can cause the opponents to hold up for a round. If the opponents can't see that you have all of the cards, um, let's see, if the opponents can't see that you have all of these cards, then it can make it very hard for them to know whether or not they're supposed to cover, because they don't know that you have all the missing ones. Um, then just like one last thing about like lying to your opponents is that while you want to do it as often as you can, sometimes it's not a great idea to lie. If the opponents can't afford to signal correctly, if they're leading from a singleton, if they're doing something like that, false carding, or like they're leading from a doubleton with an honor, so they can't afford to give a good signal. If you false card in those situations, you can actually end up making it easier for opponents because you're helping them. You can actually give away information that the opponents aren't able to give themselves. So if you feel like maybe like the choice for what the defenders were doing from their cards was restricted instead of it being a signal, it's maybe better for you to just go ahead and play the card that you would naturally play instead of trying to lie to them. Because if you encourage them in the wrong way, you can help them figure out the position that they wouldn't be able to get otherwise. So let's take a look at a couple of examples to see how this works in practice. The book goes through really a lot of different ways that you can carry out these techniques. We're only going to look at a couple of them here. I don't have time to really go over all of them. And as BZ was saying, Adam Grozak is a great person to watch to see more of these tricks, see how like this stuff can play out at the table. I'm sure that's going to be very high level play that's great to watch. So I highly recommend picking up this book for not just this chapter, but like all of the material here. But we're going to look at a couple of them at least. Okay, so we're playing in 4 spades, and West is off to the races by leading off the 5 of clubs. If we take a look at this hand, we can see we don't have any losers in spades, but we have a we have a heart loser, we have a diamond loser, and then we have 2 club losers. And we don't really see a way for us to get out of that. But we've got to make the best that we can out of this situation. If we're going to try and figure out, if we're going to try and sneak out an extra trick, what can we do to maybe pick up a trick where we're not supposed to? Well, we kind of only have 2 options. There's nothing we can do about that club suit. Then we have a heart suit, where all of the strength is completely revealed on the table. Everybody can see that the king, queen of hearts are sitting in the dummy. So, the only suit where we might be able to pick up an extra trick is this diamond holding. And we have an advantage here, because we have the king through the 9, all touching. So what card we play from our hand has a real... Sorry, I left off the jack. But we do have the jack. Sorry, no, I didn't leave off the jack. I can see. Sorry. So our advantage here is that the opponents don't know that we have the king through the 9. If we lead the 9 from our hand, and West has the ace of diamonds, they might not want to come up with the ace. They might not want to spend their ace on such a small card. They might think that their partner has a chance to come up with the trick. The 9, I mean, still leaves the 10, the jack, the queen, the king. There's all sorts of places that cards that the opponent, that your partner could have and could pick up this trick for you. So if West has that ace and you play out the 9, they might not cover. And if they don't, you're good to go. Now you only have a heart loser and 2 club losers, and you get to make your contract. If you play out the king of diamonds, you have no shot. West is always going to come up with the ace at that point. This is a case where like you get to use the information that you have to your advantage, but and like it's not guaranteed. I mean, West can see that singleton 5 on the table just as well as you can. But like maybe, but you can at least give yourself the chance by playing the 9. If you play the king, you don't give yourself a chance at all. Oh, you found it. Awesome, Nikki. Yeah, I think it's a great book to have around. I'm gonna be very excited actually to go back and read it again once I finish this one. Okay, let's take a look at another example. So this time we're over in 4 hearts, and West is starting us off with the king of spade lead. So we immediately just play out the ace of spades, and then what should we be playing at trick 2? Let's take a look at our hand. We have a potential heart loser. We don't know where the queen of hearts is. We also have a diamond loser, and we have a club loser, and we have a spade loser. So club, diamond, heart, and spade, that's 4 losers. That's 1 too many. What we want to do, if at all possible, is to get somebody to break this heart suit for us. if we don't have to lead the hearts ourselves, then we can make sure that we get the queen right. Regardless of who leads the hearts for us, we can finesse, like the finesse works either way. They can lead either into, they can either lead into our ace jack, or we can play the jack and it leads up to the king. So we have, what we want to try and do is encourage the opponents to do that. And we have a great opportunity to do that in the spades. If we win with the ace of spades and then immediately play back the 10, the opponents might think that we're trying to get a ruff in spades. They can see that we immediately went short in that suit. And with on their trick 3, they might decide to go ahead and lead back that heart, trying to shorten us. And if they lead back a heart for us, we're home free. We get to play the 6, and it comes around, and either the queen comes out, or we get to take an extra trick, and then we get to take the king and the ace, and hopefully pick up the hearts for no losers. Let's take a look at one more example, and this is actually one of my favorite examples because it is taken from real life. So this is a member of our community. This is Jubit. During one of her games in the second NAP session, this happened on stream, and I thought it was just like such an awesome hand. I asked her for the link so that we could take a look at it today. Give me 1 second to pull this up, because I don't think I set this up correctly. Come here. There we go. Sorry, 1 second. Where is it? There we go. Okay, so we can see the hand here. So East opens up the bidding 1 spade. West responds 1 no. North overcalls 2 clubs. West says, I've got lots of clubs. They've alerted this as 14 plus the 17, 6 or more spades. And South overcalls 3 clubs. So West starts us off with a king of spade lead. And we immediately find out the bad news that the spades are split, are split 6-4-3-0. So before we go any further, let's take a look at what the hand looks like. We have 2 more spade losers to take. We've got a potential diamond loser, and then we've got a club situation that we don't know what to do about. So if we lose 3 spades, a diamond, and a club, that's too many tricks. So we just kind of want to keep that in the back of our mind for a second as we kind of keep going through the play. The other thing we want to remember is that West is showing 14 to 17. So they're claiming to be the bigger hand here. West is also showing up with probably 6 to 10 with that 1 no bid. And then probably on the lower end of that because they couldn't muster up a second bid for them. So East does something a little bit strange here, and that instead of taking their ace, they go ahead and give partner a ruff instead. This does set up their 10. So, you know, I guess like maybe they were thinking of doing something like that instead. So they give a ruff. West leads back a heart. We go ahead and win that one. Now we start attacking the club position, and we find out the clubs are going to fall very favorably. Since their ruff already happened, they know that you can go ahead and cash with just the ace. And so now the only question is, so the contract is secure at this point. We've got a spade loser, and then we just have a potential diamond loser. So is there a way to take this, play this diamond suit for an over trick? And what North decided to do, which I thought was just awesome, is to play the 8. North doesn't know that that 10 is touching the queen and the defenders can't see the ace, queen, jack in North. All they can see on the table is that 10. East has a decision here. They have to decide to either come up with the king and maybe cut their partner off of a trick, or they have to, or they can play low and let their partner try and come up with one of these missing cards, the ace, the queen, or the jack. Maybe East, from like the play of the hand and things like that, should have been able to count out and figure out what they're supposed to do, but the deception was successful. East ducks. North gets to play the 10, which is the high card on the table once the king isn't out there. And they get to pick up the diamonds for no losers and grab an over trick in what was a very good board. So I thought this was a great example of how this actually plays out in person. Like at the table, like West had a difficult decision, and if you just take the finesse, it's pretty much marked. If you've been counting the points throughout the hand, you know that East has to have the king of diamonds. There's no way that you can take the finesse. You also can't even really, like, you've got some transfer, like you can rough, I guess, and get back over, but the only way to take those diamonds for no losers is to give the defenders a chance to make a mistake. So I thought that was a really cool one. Ah! Come back. Stop it. Oh my god. Hold on. Why are you being like this? Okay. Yeah, I thought that was just such a cool play. And like it's like really stuck with me, and I knew we were coming up on this chapter. So I really wanted to I asked her for it, and she dug it out for me, which was really, really nice of her. It was a great example. Okay, let's try doing a couple of problems. It's gonna give me a chance to actually get some water. I've been like mildly choking on myself for a second. So we're playing 1-no. West leads a small spade against it. When North plays the 3 and then East comes up with the jack of spades, what card are we supposed to play? We can play the 7, the queen, or the king, the queen, or the 7. Give everybody a chance to think about that. I'll be right back. Okay. Now that everybody's had a little bit of time to think about this one, feel free to post any answers in chat. I'm gonna give it another 20 seconds or so, and then I'll start talking our way through this. Afraid I'm missing something, but I think just the king, so West doesn't know who has the queen. It feels too obvious. Well, you're not wrong. That is pretty much exactly right. This is a good example. Vote for the king too. Great. Yeah, leading the king here is playing the king here is going to be very helpful. West knows that East cannot have the king. If they had the king, they would have played it instead of the jack. So the only question here for the defenders, for West, is who has the queen. If we play the queen, then West doesn't have a question anymore. They know where the whole hand, the spade suit is. They've configured this out. But if we play the king, then they don't know. Like East could be playing the jack from Jack Queen, or they so it makes it a little bit harder for the defenders to figure out what the actual position on the hand is. If they switch to another suit, we can act, and like it benefits us to get them to get this spade position wrong. So the best thing we can do here is go ahead and play the king, because that makes it harder for the defenders to figure out what's going on with the missing honor. Okay, one more problem. We're playing 5 clubs, which feels like a fun contract. West is starting us off with the king of hearts, and then we go ahead and play a low one, and then East plays the 3 of hearts. So if we assume that the opponents are playing standard carding, what card are we going to play sitting south? We want to play the 10, the 7, the 4, or the 2. Give everybody a chance to kind of look at this hand. You can see our club suit is rock solid, our spades are very solid. The only place where things could go badly is this heart suit. Okay, I see a vote for the 2. Give everybody another 20 seconds or so, then we'll start talking about this one. We don't want them to continue diamonds, so I think we want to throw out the 4 so that West thinks that East gave a discouraging signal. Oh no, that's wrong. You throw out the 2. Okay, we've got a reversal and a second vote for 2. Okay, so we've got to think about what the likely holding of the hearts are at the table. And like, why is East playing the 3 of hearts? The danger here is that we pick up 3 heart losers. If we pick up 3 heart losers, like one of the ways that that could happen is if East is playing a singleton. If in that case, this play of the 3 is forced. If we play the 4, the 3 is a singleton, but you want it to look like a discouraging signal. Yeah. What we need to do is make sure that the opponents get off of this heart lead. If they keep playing the hearts, then they're going to find that shortness in East hand, and they're going to get to take a ruff. And they're going to get to take the ace king and then get a ruff. So if we play the 4 and we make it look like that 3 is a count signal, and we're getting it like so that like so it's like a 3 and then a 2, or it's attitude, it's 3 and it's coming on. We can get that would encourage East to keep playing. We don't want East to keep playing these hearts. We want them to shift to literally anything else. So we can make it look like a discouraging signal by playing underneath it. We can play the 2 and make it look like that 3 is a discouraging signal. It's discouraging attitude from partner. And if it's a single, like, so in this case, this is a case where false carding or lying to the opponents is actually going to be really bad. East is either like, East could be sitting on like a couple of honors, could be sitting on like queen third or something. Sorry, could be sitting on like jack 3. East could be having singleton 3. Either way, they're having a hard time signaling to the partner. And we want to make sure that we continue to make the situation ambiguous. If we make it look like East is potentially encouraging, or East is trying to say that they have or give like even count, then we're going to make it very easy for them to take their 3 tricks. And we give up we end up giving it up. So I thought this is a good example of how like you want to lie to the opponents as much as possible, but you don't want to necessarily lie to the opponents thoughtlessly. If you lie to them when you're not actually, if you lie to them and they can't, in a place where they weren't able to actually give signals, or their choices were restricted, you can actually make the position clearer for what they're supposed to be doing. The only other possibility is that East is playing low from 3 small. Yeah. In which case you're all... Yeah, so if Issa has 3 small ones and the hearts are 4 triple 3, then nothing really matters. You have to be so ready to play in tempo in this case, because if you tank after the 3 and then play the 2, Wes might think something is up. That's very true. I think a lot of these things are difficult. A lot of these techniques are like require planning. You kind of have to have a sense of what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it, and before you even get to that point in the hand. So it takes a little forethought. It also takes a lot of paying attention to what the defenders are doing. You should probably be doing this anyways, but it's something that I know that I don't necessarily do that often. Especially since I play a lot of robot bridge. Like they might be signaling to each other, but neither of them are actually using the information. So I kind of tend to ignore it too. But that being said, like they do give, like the robots do give count to each other, and sometimes like paying attention to that information as the declarer is very important. If you can do this in real life, where you can make the defender's signals as ambiguous as possible, if you can give them more chances to guess, you can pick up tiny edges that way. And in the long run, those are going to pay off. If you're looking for a lot more examples of this, I highly recommend going to this chapter in card play technique. Next week, we're going to be looking at this from the defender side of view and looking at how the defenders can look to make the declarer's job harder. And the robots are so good at this. I have so many examples of getting false carded by the bots and just like getting completely bamboozled by it. I think I'm going to, I hope I have like lots and lots of real life examples to show people of what this stuff looks like at the table. Let's see. About this specific hand, you can pretty much work it out before playing from dummy because it's a trick one play. But a good general rule is also to just signal the same way that the defenders would. We don't want more hearts, so we discourage with the 2. Oh, that's a cool general rule. Signal that the same way that the defenders would. But that's when we want them to, yeah. Yeah, we don't want more hearts, so we discourage. If we wanted them to play more hearts, then we would play like an encouraging one, and that would make it more likely that they play hearts. Okay, I like it, because that makes it more likely that the other one gets read as encouraging. Okay, that's a great rule. Thank you, BC. Okay, that's all of the examples that I have for us. So we're gonna wrap it up here today. The links to Survivor Season 3 sign up is in Discord. You can find the rules there as well. You have until next Sunday, so just over a week, to get signed up. And then, let's see, next weekend is when we'll be doing the Twitch community, using the Twitch community day long as our seating round. So lots to do next weekend, and then we'll get right into playing all of our Survivor matches. Should be a good time. The 7 would be encouraging because Wes can't see the 2, so he thinks either you have it or his partner is encouraging. So either way, it's okay to play more hearts. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it took me a little while. It took me a couple seconds to work through that logic, but it does make sense. Yeah.